What is going on, gamers? Aevatrex here, and today we're going to be talking about two heroes in particular. One of them is of course the new hero Michael, and then the other one is, from what I would consider at this point in time, a pretty old hero in Destroyer. Now there's a lot of similarities from Destroyer to Michael, so let's go ahead and take a look at both of them. Now of course Michael, we all know that he has the highest HP in the game, and that he deflects damage, and that he boosts your party, and that he summons an Archangel which has increased speed, increased attack. It pretty much is a beast. Okay, now here's the thing with Destroyer and why they're fairly similar, but the thing about that is that Destroyer should be a special case. Now of course Destroyer stuns, which Michael does not do, but keep in mind that Destroyer also deflects damage, and Destroyer also increases his attack speed when he procs. Now the thing about Destroyer is that he does not boost anybody else's attack speed like Michael, and when he procs he does not summon a decoy that does damage and does everything else like Michael. Now Destroyer does come with a level 5 life drain, but really that does not matter as much because take a look at Destroyer's HP, 63,000, even though it comes with life drain, right? Here's Michael at pretty much almost twice as much HP. Now, I bring this up because Destroyer and Michael have they share some similarities, but they're completely different in the way that Michael is, of course, a gem only hero. You can roll him with gems, whereas Destroyer, you can only get Destroyer if you buy a certain amount of gems over time. Now I'm in the belief that heroes like that, heroes like Spirit Mage, heroes like Minotaur should be a little bit more special than heroes like Michael, which are gem only heroes. And the reason I say that is because these are heroes like you can only get on a specific way, which is only buying a specific amount of gems, whereas Michael, you can get lucky, you can be free to play, you roll 150 and boom, you have a Michael. Whereas Destroyer, you would never even dream about having a Destroyer, even though Destroyer at this point in time is much weaker. Now you can also make the case that Minotaur and Spirit Mage are somewhat weaker than Destroyer just because of what they bring in a lot of different game modes, where, like for instance, Minotaur doesn't really do a lot in like Lost Battlefield, let's see, Arena, not anymore, but here's the thing, Minotaur supremely helpful in dungeons. I think it's one of the most have heroes in the game as far as dungeons. Spirit Mage as well. Spirit Mage is very good in dungeons. In dungeons, as you guys know, is still a very relevant part of the game, whereas Destroyer doesn't really bring too much to any game mode, at least not anymore. He was somewhat useful in Lost Battlefield, you know, if you put him with the right team, but now with all of the new heroes that are being released, Destroyer has pretty much become like a Spirit Mage and a Minotaur in Lost Battlefield, where he's not really that useful. Now you can say that his deflect was actually pretty good, because you can have other teams kill themselves on him, and that his stun is actually pretty good. But I've always made the case that Destroyer's stun should have always been global, not in a small range, because let's be honest, it's a somewhat small range, and it's only really meant for team fights, not for like Guild Wars, where you know you can use a Minotaur to go through Guild Wars in 5 minutes. Destroyer, you can't really do that. So I don't know, I think Destroyer is one of those special heroes, quote unquote, that just is not that special anymore. And unfortunately, the way that Castle Clash has been, they don't really go back and look at older heroes at all and make a change. The game evolves, but the heroes do not. I think that's really one of my main issues right now. The game has evolved to the point where a lot of these new heroes are pretty much taken over as far as usefulness and whatnot, and older heroes are pretty much left behind, but the game does not evolve with it as far as the heroes. Now if you take a look at, if you guys play a game like Clash Royale is a game that is releasing a lot of newer cards. When it first came out, they didn't really release a lot of new cards. Now Clash Royale is pretty much releasing a new card every week or two, but the difference is that Clash Royale actually is going back to older cards and making them relevant, whereas the new cards are not the only ones that are being used. I think Castle Clash could really benefit from a retouching, if you will, of the older heroes, like a champion, like a succubus, just giving them a little extra something to make them more relevant. You know, because right now when you roll a succubus, it's just like it's a wasted roll. Yes, it's a legendary hero, understood, but is it really a legendary roll? Not really. You know, right now when you roll a druid, a succubus, a champion, a paladin, they're legendary rolls, but nobody really cares for them. I can make the argument that it could almost be as bad as rolling a blue, because you know, at this point, who really wants a succubus? Who really wants a champion? So that's really one of my main things that I would like from Castle Clash. There's 3 things that I would like. Now, one of them was, you know, more warehouse space, but we kind of got that in a way, so I'm not going to include it on that, even though I still think that 10 isn't nearly enough, but I'm not going to include that. One being that I really want some sort of management system where it'll make switching crests, switching, you know, artifacts, etc., for all of the game modes. I've already stated that in another video. You guys, most of you guys know my idea behind it. Now, the other thing that I would really love from Castle Clash is to go back and retouch heroes, the older heroes, to become more relevant, to become a little bit more powerful and more useful in certain game modes. Now, will that happen? I highly doubt it, because they've never really done it. The only thing that they've ever really done as far as going back and changing heroes is the way that they look in their portrait. Like Gulam looked a different way when he first came out. Orc's Bane looked a certain way when he first came out, and then the picture changed for the better, I might add. Candy Cane as well. They've all changed as far as the picture, but the actual hero itself has never changed. So that's another thing that I would really want Castle Clash to do. And then, of course, the very last thing that I would want from Castle Clash is to finally update the rolling system, because I know a lot of people that are quitting mainly because the rolling system is just becoming harder and harder to deal with. One hero comes out and all it does is it makes it even harder to roll another certain hero that you might want. And the system, it's just like the talent rolling system back in the day, where if you rolled a talent you couldn't pick who to put it on, and then they made that change. I really would hope that they made a change to the rolling system, because right now it's just not a good look in general for the rolling system. So I don't know, let me know what you guys think about that. Do you guys think that Destroyer and Michael are fairly similar, except that Michael is just far superior? And do you think those changes that I stated would be good for the game? I'd be interested to know what you guys think about that. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and until later, bye.